I'm Ann Sachs, and I'm here to give you quick and easy tips for healthy eating. One of the things that I like to do at the end of summer when you're trying to get those last picnics or barbecues in is make potato salad. And instead of the potato salad loaded with mayonnaise, hard-boiled eggs, and bacon that has a lot of fat, I'm going to give you two recipes that have a lot of flavor, a lot less fat, and are completely different in tone. So we're going to start with some very common ingredients. One of them is potatoes. You can use any kind. I have red skin potatoes here, and I leave the skins on for extra fiber. Shallots. These are like an onion, although they're more sophisticated in taste, I like to say. And lemon juice from a lemon, and olive oil. Some of the things that will make it different is one is going to have fennel, and fennel is a lot like celery in texture, maybe a little bit crisper than celery. But it has sort of an anise flavor, and it's really nice with potatoes. Black olives. Instead of chopping up a bunch of black olives, I'm going to use, it's a Kalamata olive spread, and it's made from black olives, and it's just wonderful. In fact, it will go on so many different things once you learn to use this. I'm going to use sun-dried tomatoes and a little prepared mustard. Okay, let's get cracking. Okay, so I've been cutting up the potatoes into bite-sized pieces, and would you believe it, I discovered some of them are pink. So I just picked up some at the different farmers markets, and some of them turned out to be pink. That's always a fun thing to discover. So I'm going to take these potatoes and I'm going to steam them in a little steamer thing for, I'll check them in 20 minutes. And if they're done, great. If they're not, I just do a little more. So we can pile them all in here. And don't have the water boiling too high. You don't want the water to all boil off. You might want to check it in a little bit to make sure you have some in there. I put in almost 3 cups of water in that little thing. And so I'm just going to let that go. And while the potatoes are cooking, I'm going to cut up some of the other things. And as I mentioned, we're going to make 2 different potato salads. So the first thing I'm going to do is start cutting up the fennel. And I cut off and discard the fronds, or you can munch on them kind of like celery. And then I'm going to make really thin slices. And of course you should always use the guard, especially when you get down lower, but right now, since there's a lot here, I'm not going to do that. But once I get past that, I'm going to use the guard. And this makes a lot of nice thin slices rather quickly. I'm also going to do the same thing for the shallot. And you can see that I can make some nice thin slices there. One of the recipes is going to have chives, and it's very easy to take a pair of kitchen scissors and just cut the chives right in there. And the other recipe is going to have some rosemary. And I like to grow some herbs on my kitchen window, and rosemary does seem to do pretty well. So what I'm going to do is just strip off the little leaves, and I'll chop them up in a moment. I'm also going to squeeze a lemon, and before I do that, I'm just going to grate some of the lemon rind, just the yellow part, and you'll be amazed at how much lemon flavor that adds to any dish. So I always like to do that before I squeeze a lemon, especially if I'd like a little more lemon flavor in whatever I'm making. Okay, next we're going to, in the bowl that doesn't have the chives, I'm going to put some sun-dried tomatoes. And I got these from Trader Joe, and they're already chopped up in nice little pieces, so I'm just going to put a bunch in there. And you know, it doesn't really matter, you put whatever amount you like. Okay, so I put half the potatoes in with the chives and the other half in with the sun-dried tomatoes. And I was busy chopping the shallots, the fennel, mixing a little dressing of mustard, lemon juice, and olive oil. And I used less olive oil than the recipe calls for. So this is the fennel, chives, and raw shallots in here. And the dressing goes on here. Mix that around. And this potato salad can be eaten warm or cold, and it's really refreshing. Very lemony with crunchy fennel, chives. It's really good. And this one is going to get some of the black olive tapenade, the rosemary, and some lemon juice. And I also cooked up some shallots, the other half of the shallots, just to be in keeping with the not so crunchy potato salad. This is more chewy. And I'm going to mix this up, and this is best served warm, but I'm sure it'll still be good cold. And it looks totally different, and it's very savory. If you want to put a little hot sauce in there, you can. And if you're wanting to boost the nutrition a lot, you can use cauliflower instead of potatoes and do the same thing. So I'm wishing you happy eating with 2 different potato salads.